President Trump is looking to make our nation's capital beautiful again. In a new executive order, Trump is mandating all federal buildings, quote, embrace classical architecture, making that the default style for all federal DC buildings. The White House releasing this statement. In the District of Columbia, classical architecture shall be the preferred and default architecture for federal public buildings, absent exceptional factors necessitating another kind of architecture.
The order takes aim at other designs, including the Brutalist style, which you can see here with the lovely, beautiful FBI headquarters. The president does not typically have input on architectural decisions, but this is not new for President Trump, who has already made changes to the White House, including paving over grass in the Rose Garden and adding yellow-striped umbrella seating. He also installed 2 giant flagpoles waving American flags, and next month he will start construction on a $200 million ballroom. So lots of changes coming to the district in a lot of different ways.
For sure.
I, for one, am a huge fan of this executive order. Mm-hmm. It's like fairly apolitical. This was something he actually did at the end of his first term alongside the statue garden with the American heroes, which were quickly, of course, undone by the Biden administration. But if you've ever been to the FBI building, if you've ever been to the State Department, I know you have, Niall, they're just so crushingly ugly. I mean, it's called Brutalist for a reason. Yeah. And when we have the Capitol right outside of our beautiful studio here, and it's just magnificent. It really takes your breath away to see these things in person, and I think it is well worth it to have some guidelines on what our taxpayer-funded government buildings look like. They should be the best of the best.
Highly unusual for me to praise a Trump executive order, but I will have to make an exception in this case, I think, because you are right about some of those brutalist designs. We were talking before the show about our experiences of some of those places. Every time I go in or past the State Department, I live quite close to it, the ugliness of that building just appalls me. And I'm not some big architect, I know very little about the history of architecture and telling this period from that period. I just think it's a kind of dismal building. The FBI building is a fraction better perhaps, but it's pretty marginal. And it is something that I have thought about generally, not just in terms of DC, where I go to New York quite often. You go to something like Grand Central Station, and it is this beautiful building, which of course serves a very important purpose as well, but is designed with real aesthetic taste and grandeur. And it has seemed to me at times that we've basically stopped doing that. I mean, Moynihan Train Hall's better than Penn Station, but it's not Grand Central either, So if there were more of that, or you mentioned the Capitol, the Library of Congress, the Supreme Court. I mean, there are lots of beautiful buildings here, and I think aspiring to that kind of style is a good thing.
Yeah, it seems like we used to put so much thought and effort into designing these buildings, and now it's, let's just throw up a box and try to save as much money as possible. Exactly. But you're not even really saving money because, I mean, if the new Fed headquarters is $2 billion, it doesn't really matter. So let's throw a few arches on there. Let's have some columns. Let's make it look pretty. I said this actually, I think, shortly after I started co-hosting this show, and I'm going to say it again because I think it's real, and I got made fun of at the time, but I don't care.
Oh, no.
I think that beautiful architecture actually inspires a higher level of thinking. When you surround yourself with aesthetically pleasing things, I think you are going to have a better life. You're going to have more high-ordered thoughts, and I do think that those two things really are connected.
Yeah, I mean, I would not make fun of you for that view at all. I think that our surroundings do generally affect us, and I think if are things designed with taste and as I say, some sense of grandeur, I think that's better. I also think, just to get back to your point about actually aspiring to these higher levels of things, so often I think in modern life we experience things that are just made as cheaply as possible and as kind of tattily as possible to serve their purpose for the minimum cost.
Yes.
And that in fact that's just not very inspiring to anyone, whether it's a car or a computer or a building. And if things have more thought put into them, I think it sort of is a virtuous circle.
I mean, think about the comparison of old typewriters compared to what our laptops look like now.
Right.
You cannot tell me that someone's sitting down to write at that laptop. was not going to turn out better content just by the nature of their surroundings than the person who clicks away on the keyboard.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I think we should return to quill and parchment.
Hey, let's do it.
And see how that works. But, in general, environment matters, including the aesthetics of the environment. And if the aesthetics of DC are going to be improved here, which I don't think they were in the Rose Garden, let me get one anti-Trump point in there.
The only thing I agree, it doesn't look great. The only thing I like about it is that when you would go to the Rose Garden with heels on to cover an event, say goodbye to your shoes. Game over.
An experience that men generally never have. I certainly have never had, but it's a fair point. That harmonious note does it for us on Rising Live. Look out for more exclusive YouTube content coming your way today. And be sure to like, share and subscribe to The Hill's YouTube channel so you never miss any content. And for those of you who like to listen while on the go, we are now available anywhere you listen to podcasts. We'll see you next week. Happy Labour Day.